Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
We have returned, and real quick, because there were some questions about this from last time, I'm just going to post it in here so you guys can see it through the chat. Matt McFarland, he's the person who does the music, and so that's
his contact information, so check him out.
MattMcFarland.com.
If you like that awesome music.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to, this is probably running a little longer than I had originally planned, so we're going to probably speed things up.
We're going to speed it up. I'm going to talk less, and we're going to move into our set review.
Okay.
Red? Alicia, who smiles at death. 1 red 2 for a 3/2. Legendary creature, human warrior. It's rare. First strike. Whenever Alicia, who smiles at death, attacks, you may pay hybrid mana black 2 hybrid black-white mana. If you do, return target creature card with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking.
Her ability is gravy. She is a 3-drop 3/2 first strike, and in this environment, that is ridiculous.
And a warrior.
She's a warrior. I mean, she doesn't even need the rest of her ability for me to want to play her. Her ability, though, is it won't always be good, but there are definitely times it will be.
I think I'll have to, or not necessarily me, but one might have to be careful not to throw in bad 2 creatures with 2 power, just with the hopes of activating it.
Yeah, like don't worry about playing around this card too much. Like, don't be like, well, I have Alicia, so I need to play a lot of 2-drops. Like,
no, you have Alicia, so you play whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. If her ability's good, it's good, and if it's not, it's not. But either way, I'm absolutely playing this card.
Arc Bond. 1 red 2 for an instant. It's rare. Choose target creature. Whenever that creature is dealt damage this turn, it deals that much damage to each other creature and each player. This is like a Hearthstone card.
This card's gonna blow people out.
Yeah.
This card's gonna blow people out.
So explain to me how this works. Like how would you play it?
You chump their fattest guy, and then you arc bond your guy, and then his fat guy does damage to everything. It's going to be really good against a rush deck. Like, it's going to hammer a token rush deck. Like,
so when during combat would you play this?
You'd play it after blockers are declared, before damage is dealt.
Okay.
It could be a real blowout, actually. Where this card could be a super blowout is like if your opponent, say, has a Anak Bondkin or even an Alicia that does first strike damage. So it does the first strike damage and then goes all the way around. So some of the creatures are not going to actually be there to do normal damage.
Oh my gosh. So, wow, this card is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think this card's going to probably see constructed play. It's definitely going to see limited play.
Do you first pick it?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd first pick this card.
Excellent.
Because you can do it on offense as well. Like, you're attacking and it deals damage, and this is highly offensive, highly defensive. It costs 3 mana. It's
an instant. The chat is saying that the Abzan midrange deck in standard is going to be slightly taken down by this.
I don't think that's particularly true.
Okay. We like this card.
I mean, especially like some of the things in Abzan midrange have trample, like Siege Rhino. So it's going to distribute its damage to other things. So it may not do 4 damage to one guy. It may do 2 and then 2. So
Okay.
the card's okay.
Okay.
Again, I honestly don't see that particular thought. But either way, the card is still good. I
Okay.
just don't think it's necessarily great there.
Bathe in Dragonfire. Red 2 for a sorcery, common. Bathe in Dragonfire deals 4 damage to target creature.
Yep.
Yeah. For 3?
I mean, it's 3 mana, 4 damage. It's good.
Good removal.
Solid sorcery. I mean,
Don't play your rune marks. That's what it says.
it's fine. This card is just fine. I mean, play it if you're playing red. Absolutely. I mean, is it sorcery? Yeah, it's a sorcery. But just because it's a sorcery doesn't make it bad. It's cheap. So, like, this is going to go in decks when you're playing red. Plain and simple.
Bloodfire Enforcers. Red 3 for a 5/2. Creature human monk. Uncommon. Bloodfire Enforcers has first strike and trample as long as an instant card and a sorcery card are in your graveyard.
I don't hate this at all.
Oof.
I don't like the 2 part of it.
Yeah.
Certainly, it's susceptible to being removed, but like, so we're already kind of in Jeskai. Obviously,
Yeah,
if
this
we're
is
running,
super Jeskai.
if we're running this thing, so there's a good chance that we're going to have a sorcery and an instant in our yard. So, I mean, I'm going to play it. The first strike and tramples can be very relevant.
Yeah.
It'll make it very hard to deal with. I think they're going to have to remove it. This is one of those cards they're going to have to do something about.
Break Through the Line. Red 1 for an enchantment. It's uncommon. The activated ability is red. Target creature with power 2 or less gains haste until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn.
I typically don't like cards like this, but this one may be fine. It's cheap. I think this card is actually very situational. Like, how often is that going to be relevant? Like, if you're playing larger things, obviously it's not good. If your whole deck is 2 or less, maybe, but then again, you're also not, like, this card inherently doesn't do anything on its own. Like, it doesn't deal damage, it doesn't remove anything. It's an enabler, and you need good things to become enabled by it.
Yeah.
Like, because the problem is it's only doing a creature power 2 or less, and it does cost you a red extra. I could see it in some decks.
I'm not going to play it, I don't think. I think I'd rather play a creature. Defiant Ogre. Red 5 for a 3/5. Creature, Ogre Warrior. It's a common. When Defiant Ogre enters the battlefield, choose one. Put a 1/1 counter on Defiant Ogre. Destroy target artifact.
No, thank you.
Oh my god, that's the saddest flavor text ever. I have no clan, but I still have purpose? Aw. I love you, Defiant Ogre.
Well, he's got no clan. He's got no space in my deck. He's actually wrong. He has no clan and he has no purpose.
Oh, okay. This is the saddest card I've ever seen in my life. Not playing it though for 6.
No, a 4/6 for 6 isn't good. I mean,
Maybe if they have that sword thing, artifact.
Yeah, if they've got like Ghostfire Blade, I'll bring this card in. But no, this is not something.
Not good.
This is not something I'm main decking.
Okay. Dragon Rage, red 2 for an instant. It's uncommon. Add red to your mana pool for each attacking creature you control. Until end of turn, attacking creatures you control gain red. This creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. How do you feel about that?
It's very interesting because if you have a lot of tokens and you can just spew out a bunch of stuff, like, then this card is fine because you could gain like 7-8 mana all of a sudden. And also remember, just because you gain a bunch of mana and you have that ability does not mean you have to spend the mana on that ability. You can just have 8 mana in your pool and then cast Burn Away and 3 more. Or
But the mana goes after the
correct,
combat phase.
Yeah, it has to be something you can play as an instant.
Okay.
So,
I'm not sure how it's going to work. I want to play and see how it works.
I do like the fact that basically you do it after blockers, and then you can get 8 mana, and you can just, or whatever, and you can just pump the one creature they didn't block. And all of a sudden it's just 3 mana. This creature gets +8/+0. What are you going to do about it?
It could be fun.
It's very situational.
I'll lose to it.
But the situation that it's good in is really good.
Fierce Invocation, red 4 for a sorcery, common. Manifest the top card of your library, then put 2 +1/+1 counters on it.
It's a 4/4 for 5. I don't hate it.
You could do better, but you could do worse.
Yeah, I like this more if you're creature heavy because then theoretically it can flip up with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. It definitely feels more Obzon-y in a non-Obzon color.
It does feel Obzon-y, doesn't it?
But I don't hate it.
Okay.
5-drop 4/4s are okay. If you're very spell intensive, I think that's all you're gonna get. But if that's all you get, it's okay. It's just when you actually get something good underneath of it.
Meh. Collateral Damage, red for an instant. It's common. As an additional cost to cast Collateral Damage, sacrifice a creature. Collateral Damage deals 3 damage to target creature or player.
It's Lightning Bolt the cost. It's a really good combat trick.
Yeah.
On a creature that's going to just die and not kill the other thing. I'm definitely playing this. I mean, the ability to do 3 damage for 1 mana is really good, even if you have to sacrifice a creature. You can either sack just something really crappy or
tokens
or something that's going to die anyway.
I'm putting this in my Goblin Slide deck. It is a sad card. Look at that art. Flame Rush Rider, red 4 for a 3/3 creature human warrior. It's rare. Whenever Flame Rush Rider attacks, put a token onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that's a copy of another target attacking creature. Exile the token at the end of combat. Dash cost of red 2.
Yeah, it's... My problem with this is that you're having to attack with a 5-drop 3/3. This is one of those cards that absolutely has to have dash.
I feel like it's the surprise that will get you.
Yeah, more than anything, that's what it is. The ability of using it for a dash, because if it's just out there, I feel like it's going to get removed. Uh, it can be fine, but I'm not going to be very happy with this card. Honestly, I'll probably play it in a red deck, but it's I mean, it pairs very well with the last card we just covered, Collateral Damage. We'll just sack that creature.
It does.
But
Flamewake Phoenix, red 1 for a 2/2. Creature, Phoenix, rare. Flying and haste. Flamewake Phoenix attacks each turn of Fable. Ferocious, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you may pay red. If you do, return Flamewake Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Sure. I'll take a 2/2 flying haste that comes back. I mean, it's a Phoenix. Phoenixes come back, and they tend to be really good in limited. I don't know if this would see playing constructed, maybe in a monsters deck, but in limited, I mean, if nothing else, it's a 2/2 flyer for 3 in red, which is a color which is weak on them. The attacks each turn is able isn't fantastic, but I mean, it's not that difficult to get Ferocious, and then you pay a red. I'm good. I'm good with it. It's not. Okay. I don't like it as much as I've liked some other Phoenixes, but I definitely think it's a solid card, and it's definitely getting played if you can support the double red.
Friendly Fire, 1 red 3. It's an instant, uncommon. Target creature's controller reveals a card at random from his or her hand. Friendly Fire deals damage to that creature and that player equal to the revealed card's converted mana cost.
This is a very interesting card. It definitely fits within the red theme of being chaotic, because it could be 0 or it could be a lot. The flavor text is ridiculous. Never tell goblins to fire at will. Because someone's name is Will. I think if you're really desperate for removal, you can play it. It might work well as a sideboard option, but I don't like it.
Goblin Heel Cutter, 1 red 3 for a 3/2. It's a creature, Goblin Berserker. Whenever Goblin Heel Cutter attacks, target creature can't block this turn. Has a dash cost of 1 red 2.
This is definitely a card that you're probably more going to want to dash. The ability to just come in 3/2, that guy can't block, swing. This is one of those where I think spending the mana is fine, because you're essentially going to be treating it as a bit of a bolt, and it's going to be an enabler for getting your guys through. They've got that one guy that's just really going to wreck you if he blocks. Now he can't. If he's on the board as a 3/2, he's probably going to die rather quick. So I don't love him, but I think he's going to make my deck, especially if I'm aggressive.
Agree. Gore Swine, red 2 for a 4/1. Creature Boar, common. That's it.
Pretty sure I've seen that guy in World of Warcraft before. I think I went in the forest and killed a bunch of them. It's a ferocious enabler. It's a red worse Alpine Grizzly. If you're looking for cards that have ferocious or triggers ferocious, it's good. It's just weak as hell.
Agree. Humble Defector. Red 1 for 2/1. Creature, human rogue. Uncommon. Tap. Draw 2 cards. Target opponent gains control of Humble Defector. Activate this ability only during your turn. You getting close to read it?
I'm making sure on something here. This might be a decent collateral damage thing. Tap, draw 2 cards, response, kill it. It's a 2-drop 2/1, which makes it not terrible. It's curious because you give it to your opponent then. Like, you need these 2 cards to do something. Like you need it sounds weird. You don't want your opponent being able to untap with this thing and being able to draw the cards back if they want.
Is there ever a scenario where you could activate it and then sack it?
Oh yeah.
Like
I just said, collateral damage could do it because it's not.
But there's a lot of sacrifice a card type effects in this.
Yeah. That's why I was double checking the wording for Judge Thing to make sure that your opponent gaining control of it is not part of the activated ability, and it's not. It's part of the resolution. So, I'm going to say it's okay because it's a 2-drop 2/1. And you have an ability that's kind of a it's an emergency button. It's break glass in case of emergency. Draw 2 cards. You don't want to do it, but you will if you have to.
Hungering Yeti. Red 4 for a 4/4. Creature Yeti. Uncommon. As long as you control a green or blue permanent, you may cast Hungering Yeti as though it had flash. No clan is as adept as saying, go away, as the teamer.
I like 4 casting or 5 casting cost 4/4s with flash. I don't like it if you can't cast it with flash, but it's basically removal.
Oh, it is removal. Block their creature
Yeah.
during attacks.
Actually, we have something going on in the chat, which is making me go back a card. Nope. Okay. Just wanted to read something real fast.
Lightning Shrieker. Red 4 for a 5/5. Creature Dragon. Common. Flying, Trample, Haste. At the beginning of the end step, Lightning Shrieker's owner shuffles it into his or her library.
This card is weird.
Why is it weird?
It in some ways reminds me of a Ball Lightning. But, and for those of you who don't know, Ball Lightning is, it's a very old card from the dark. It's triple red for a 6/1 haste trample. At the end of turn, it dies. So it's a burn spell with legs. This feels a little like it, only it flies, so it's a burn spell with evasion.
I'll play it.
It's okay. I mean, how many times do you want to draw a lava axe in a game? That may be garbage.
Are you asking me a question?
I was not.
Mardu Rune Mark. Red 2. Enchantment Aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. Enchanted creature has first strike as long as you control a white or black permanent.
It's still a rune mark. I still think it sucks.
Okay.
It's just like with all the rune marks, you're going to have a reason you're wanting to play auras to be decent. I just don't think it is.
Okay. Mardu Scout. Red for a 3/1. Creature Goblin Scout. Common. Dash cost 1. I'll read that again. Dash red 1.
If you can't pay full price, you can get it for cheap, but it goes back. The double red's going to make it a little difficult to play when you're going to want it, which is going to be turn 2. It's a decent early bolt, but it does nothing to establish your board if you're playing it there. I don't see the upside to this card. I think it's
It wouldn't surf into your deck?
no. There's no surfing here.
It is surfing though.
Well, it's not surfing into my deck. It might surf into my sideboard.
Chuckle.
A lot of people like to compare these to burn spells, but for the most part, they're not, because your opponent has creatures. I mean, maybe if you're trying to use it as removal, and you're like, here, block this, but it's like removal where your opponent can just make a decision. Not a fan.
Mob Rule. Red 4. It's a sorcery. Rare. Choose one. Gain control of all creatures with power 4 or greater until end of turn. Untap those creatures. They gain haste until end of turn. Gain control of all creatures with power 3 or less until end of turn. Untap those creatures. They gain haste until end of turn.
So either you take all their fatties, you take all their weenies. It's a bomb. You take it. 6 mana, don't care. This is a multi-act of treason. This is one of those cards.
Yeah.
I say 6 mana, cards like this need to be able to win the game, and this card can win the game. It can win the game. Right there, boom, done.
For 6 mana.
For 6 mana, absolutely. More often than not, you're going to find one of those is probably more prevalent than the other. Either fatties or weenies. Usually there's going to be a choice that's going to win it for you.
Outpost Siege. Red 3. Enchantment. Rare. As Outpost Siege enters the battlefield, choose cons or dragons. Cons. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. Dragons. Whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, Outpost Siege deals 1 damage to target creature or player. I don't like this.
This depends a little bit on your deck. If you just got that pool that just had no good removal, sure. The problem here more than anything is that if you have situational cards, they're not going to be good when you flip them up. It's the Chandra dilemma of you've sideboarded in Searing Bloods and you flip a Searing Blood with Chandra and there's no creatures to Searing Blood. You're like,
right.
Well, that was a waste. Dragons, mean, I'm not going to say that Cons and Dragons might not have a good use in Constructed. I think this actually might see some Constructed play. But, like, the uses for it are so minimal that you're probably not going to want it in your deck. Like, dash. Like, if you're playing a burn deck, you're not going to want to spend 4 on this. Like a speedy deck. And if they're set up, you'd be like, dash, don't attack, bring it back, take 1. Like, you pay whatever the dash cost is to make them take 1 point of damage.
Yeah.
It's absolutely has constructed implications. There's absolutely constructed decks that are going to try this card. But I think for limited, it's pretty weak.
Agree. Pyrotechnics. Red 4. Sorcery uncommon. Pyrotechnics deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or players.
Arc Lightning's Big Brother got reprinted. Oh, I love me some Pyrotechnics.
Seems good.
Yeah, I like this card. Five's a fine number, and 4 is an important number. It's like kill your morph, kill your morph. Like, especially if you're on the play, and they're like morph on 3, morph on 4. On 5, you're like Pyrotechnics, kill. Psh. Like, that's tempo, boys. Don't leave this card in your sideboard. Play it. It's red. It's great. It's amazing. It's a touch expensive, but it's not too expensive for what it does. At all. Sorcery, don't care. It's fine.
Rage Form. Red 2. Enchantment. Uncommon. When Rage Form enters the battlefield, it becomes an aura with Enchant Creature. Manifest the top card of your library and attach Rage Form to it. Enchanted creature has double strike.
I'm okay with a 2/2 double strike for 4.
Seems good.
I mean, it's not the best thing ever, but especially if you get lucky with your manifest and get something like good, this card can get there. I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely is going to. It's definitely going to give you a creature that's going to have an impact on the game. Like, they're going to have to either remove it or get rid of the rage form.
Right.
Or, I mean, first strikers.
I think we're getting closer to my dream of a quadruple strike creature. Shaman of the Great Hunt. Red 3 for a 4/2. Creature Orc Shaman, mythic rare. Haste. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on it. Ferocious. 2 hybrid blue-green, 2. Draw a card for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. Is that the sound of a bomb?
This card's a bomb.
Certified bomb?
It's a certifiable bomb. You're never going to be upset to see this card. I'll admit a 4/2 for 4 is a little weak on the toughness side. Who cares? This card is token loving. You can sit back on it and just start drawing cards. The value on it's amazing. I have no idea if it's going to see anything in constructed. Probably not. Maybe, though. I think some people are going to try it. But as far as limited goes, this is absolutely one of those cards you want to see.
Seems great. Shockmaw Dragon. Red 4 for a 4/4. Creature dragon, uncommon. Flying. Whenever Shockmaw Dragon deals combat damage to a player, it deals 1 damage to each creature that player controls.
I think the ability is definitely the weakest. Like,
Sorry, I had to help little Sibsig. She got stuck.
I don't think the ability is going to be relevant that often. Personally, I think you're paying 6 for a 4/4 flyer. Now, don't get me wrong. In red, I will pay 6 for a 4/4 flyer. Like, we don't get like good flyers there in red, so
Yeah.
I'll pay it. I just don't think the ability is that great.
Yeah, agree.
And there's a lot of people talking about the
My dog is one of the people talking.
yeah. Yeah, there's people talking about attack with my bomb, block with morph. Well, if you attack with your 4/2 bomb into their morph, then
That's an unwise choice.
yeah, I'm going to beat you anyway.
That's an unwise choice. Smoldering Efreet.
Smoldering Efreet.
Smoldering
Oh.
Efreet.
Oh, hang on.
Can't see it.
I see what's going on there. Sorry, mild technical issue there.
It's a 2/2. Creature Efreet Monk, common. When Smoldering Efreet dies, it deals 2 damage to you.
I mean, maybe if we're going to exchange it with that really expensive blue card.
There's not a reason why you would play this.
This card's horrible.
There's so many other good 2 power, 2 toughness cards. And there's so many other good cards to put at the 2-drop slot. Maybe not so many others, but don't play this.
This card's awful.
Don't play this card. Teamer Battle Rage. Red 1, instant, common. Target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Ferocious. That creature also gains trample until end of turn if you control a creature with power 4 or greater.
I like this card a lot.
Yeah. I'm going to lose to this card.
Yeah, the ability to give double strike out of nowhere, both offensively and defensively, can be. I mean, obviously, you more want to use it offensively with
the ferocious
trample, but like double strike out of nowhere is just silly, and like attack with my woolly Loxodon, chump,
Living the dream.
battle rage,
That's the dream.
take 11. That great card.
I like this card a lot.
It's gonna blow people out.
Vault Breaker. Red 3 for a 4/2 creature, orc rogue, uncommon. Whenever Vault Breaker attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Dash of 3. Dash red 2.
I like this card obviously more as a dash. I think I definitely like this card more as a dash, because I think it's got the same problem most dash cards will, is that it will probably get picked off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it kind of has to come out of nowhere. I'm meh on it.
I liked it better when it was Abomination of Gadul.
Yeah, I definitely like Abomination of Gadul more than I like this guy.
Well, I don't want to compare the two.
Yeah, because this rummages, that loots. I mean, it's okay. You can hit him for... It's a 4/2 for 4 that might have an upside. It might dash. I think more often than not, it's going to be a 4/2 for 4 that might swing once, is probably going to die, and you'll get to rummage once. There will be instances where it'll be better than that.
Wild Slash. 1 red. Uncommon instant. Ferocious. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, damage can't be prevented this turn. Wild Slash does 2 damage to target creature or player.
Yes, please. Yes, please. We have a shock. A strictly better shock.
I have a question about this card. On other cards, the ferocious part is at the bottom, but the ferocious part is on the top at this card. Is that significant in any way?
It actually is. I think.
It just seems odd. It seems odd because usually the ferocious ability is on the bottom, but here it's printed on the top. I don't know if that's significant.
Well, I think it might be significant from a rules perspective. Like if the creature goes away before the damage is dealt, then damage still can't be prevented.
Oh, interesting.
So it'll be damage can't be prevented, then it'll deal 2 damage, which actually may be wrong, but the problem could be if they did it the other way, like if there was a damage prevention effect already, then it would prevent the damage and then damage would be unpreventable. Like from a rules template way, they had to do it this way.
Yeah, it seems like it's written carefully, and I don't necessarily understand why, but...
Yeah, the damage, for the card to work the way it's intended, you have to make it so damage can't be prevented first.
Okay.
And that's also something to note, is that this in some ways can kind of get used the way Skullcrack did. Skullcrack was nice with 3 damage, but more often than not, it was being used to prevent damage from being prevented. Yeah.
Complex.
Okay. We are going to take a real quick break here, and we will be back in just a couple minutes. You are listening to The Gamers